Hello. Okay, so today we're going to talk about a topic that is a little cringe, but I think it's very important and I'm kind of excited to talk about this. It's about how to build a life that you truly love. And I say this because I feel that I've come a long way from 3 years ago when I started this whole what should I do with my life journey. In 2020, I was living with my parents and I had a one tiny bedroom. And now, 2023, I'm living in a 4-bedroom house with my husband and we're driving a nice car, and it's just kind of crazy because I feel that I had accidentally manifested this dream life. I never really thought about having a life or, that kind of life where get married, buy a nice house, buy a nice car. And it's weird because it's something that I didn't think that I would also like now that I have it. For me, traveling was always my priority. I think traveling 3 times a year was my dream life. And I realized that you can kind of have both. You can have a nice house, a nice car, and also be able to travel as much as you want and basically having a lot of freedom and flexibility in your life. It took a while to get here. So in this video, I wanted to kind of share the things that I have done both mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in order to get me here. And I really hope that if you are stuck or if you don't like where you are right now, I'm telling you, there is a way to get out of it. I remember having moments of sadness and feeling like, oh my God, what am I doing here? What am I doing with my life? And I just thought that there was no way out. Of course, once you do the work, inner work especially, you will be able to get out of any situation that you're in. So this is kind of a way to guide you through there. So let's get started. So the very first thing is really being honest where you are. If you don't like where you are right now, I would suggest that kind of sitting with that fact that, okay, I don't like where I am right now, and just accepting that. Because if you're in denial, if you're trying to get where you are right now, it's very hard to kind of take action to see where you want to go. And also being honest about where you are right now will really kind of help you pinpoint what exactly do you not like about your life right now. So for example, I was an ER nurse in the pandemic, right? And I didn't like it anymore because of the toxic environment. I wasn't getting paid well. I was getting disrespected left and right, and I just didn't like that, and I didn't know where else to go. So that was the very first step, figuring out where you are right now. The second step is really figuring out where you want to go, because you can't move if you don't know where you're going. You can, but it's going to be very hard because then you can get swayed in different places. Imagine going to the airport and just kind of saying like, oh, I want to go somewhere, and then someone asks you, okay, where do you want to go? And you're like, you can end up in Asia or Europe or anywhere else, but if you don't know where you're going, it's going to be very hard to pick. There's a lot of countries in the world. So that is really the second step, is figuring out where you want to go. So the way that I figure out where I wanted to go is that kind of really expanding my knowledge or what other people were doing. So for example, I wanted to work online because I didn't want to be stuck in the hospital anymore. And I started looking into, how can you work online? And there were a lot of things that I saw. You could become an influencer, you can become a coach, you can become so many different things. But now you can see that you can't be stuck anywhere. You have options, which is what we want, right? If you're stuck in the one place and you feel like you have no option, what you want to do is figure out how to have more options. So that's the thing. So this is obviously very generalized, and what I want you to take from this is that you have a lot of options. You have to take steps in choosing one thing so that you can actually move towards things. And if you pick the wrong thing, that's okay, because then you can keep pivoting until you land into something that you really like. So that's what I did. I went into influencing and then coaching and then writing and then YouTubing, and now I'm still in this path. So it's not going to be easy to find that thing, but you have to keep moving if you want to build a life that you love. So for me, for example, what I wanted is to kind of be free of the hospital environment, and I just did anything and everything that I could find. I signed up for courses. I learned from a lot of different mentors online, and it just kind of got the ball rolling. And I did end up doing travel nursing because that is something that I was also curious about. It turns out that I didn't really hate nursing. It's more so I hated the environment that I was in, and doing travel nursing really exposed me to different types of nursing, which I ended up loving. So once you figure out where you want to go, you kind of want to of reverse engineer that. So for me, lately, what I have wanted was that I wanted a life where I can kind of pick and choose when I work or where I work, and I wanted to have a lot of time for my YouTube and writing and all that creative work. So the way that this has manifested in my life is really by becoming a travel nurse. When I'm not doing travel nursing, let's say I'm home for about 2 months or 3 months and I'm not doing anything, instead of not having work because, it makes me feel insecure, it doesn't make me feel good when I don't have work, is that I decided to become a dental nurse. And this really allows me to have the freedom of choosing when to work while also having the sense of peace or security that there's money coming in when I'm not working. Obviously, the money isn't as much if I work part-time or full-time in a hospital or become a travel nurse, but it is enough for me to actually keep going, because the whole goal of this thing is to find freedom and do things that I truly want in my free time. So once you figure out what you want to do, I would also ask myself, what are the feelings associated with the results I want? Because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to kind of chase, is that the feeling of happiness, the feeling of joy, the feeling of abundance, maybe figuring out what is the feelings that you're chasing with the results that you want. So for example, with the life that I want, the feelings that I wanted was feelings of peace, feelings of joy, feelings of freedom, that I can do anything and I can go anywhere. And these are feelings that I can kind of access now in the present moment, even though I still don't have that thing that I'm trying to get or trying to manifest or trying to make it into a reality. So feelings of peace is something I can do just by going on nature walk or reading or journaling. So you have to figure out the feelings of peace or feelings that you're trying to get so that you can do it right now. It's a little confusing, I know, but bear with me. So let me give you an example. In our old home, we lived in a 2-bedroom home, and I felt like I was living my dream life already, but at the same time, I wasn't feeling peaceful, because every time I would film like this, I could hear my husband in the next room having his meeting, and whenever I wanted to do something, I just didn't feel free. There's not a lot for me to do my creative work because we were always in each other's way, even though it was kind of a big condo. So I started manifesting, or I started dreaming about a life where, I would wake up and then I would go for a walk and then I would make coffee and I would do all of these things as my perfect life or my ideal life. And I would imagine those feelings that I have when I'm doing those things. So by thinking or feeling those things that I think my life would give me, my dream life would give me in the present moment, it actually made it come true. It's kind of weird, but it's true. It's I imagine myself having a YouTube studio where I can just kind of film a lot free. I imagine myself having an aesthetic home where I can kind of vlog anywhere and everywhere. Right now my house isn't completely decorated yet, but I can see myself vlogging and doing a lot of fun things when it comes to video, because I felt excited and I felt joy whenever I imagined that thing. So even though I didn't have the results yet, I already knew what it was going to make me feel, and all I had to do was to bring up those feelings in the present moment. And that's kind of how it came to be. So I know it sounds a little woo-woo. I still can't believe it myself, but this is where we're at. There is nothing to lose for you to try this out. So after you figure out the feelings that you have to act as if you already have what you want, which is very connected. If you already, let's say, if your dream is to have $1 million in your bank account, what would that make you feel now in the present moment? Imagine having that result and you already have that in the present moment. What would you do? What would you be thinking? What would you say? What would you be doing in your day-to-day life? So that's essentially what you're trying to do, is that you're just trying to match the energy of the person that already has someone that you have in the present moment, so that in the future, so that you can actually match their reality. So this isn't really about faking it till you make it, but it's more about acting or kind of becoming the person who already has what you want. So for instance, if I'm trying to manifest this lifestyle of being a creator, of someone who already has 100K subscribers on YouTube, who already has a lot of readers of my newsletter, who would that person be? And that's something that I'm still kind of figuring out out or trying really hard to act as if, because obviously I don't have 100k subscribers, but I am working on that fact where who would I become? What would I post if I already had that results that I want? What would my energy be like if I already have that 100k subscribers that I want? Obviously the answers that are coming up are like, I'm somebody who is very engaged in her videos. I'm someone who is presentable and someone who really care about the topics that she's talking about. And so that's something that I'm still working on, of course, and there's always something to work on, right? So you can do this on a step-by-step basis. So the other thing that you can work on is to build on your self-concept or self-worth or self-confidence, self-esteem. They all go under the umbrella of having a good self-worth. And this essentially means that you believe that everything that you want, you are worthy of it, that you deserve this thing. Because I feel what happens is that when you get that something and then you don't feel that you deserve it, you're gonna do something to actually sabotage that experience. So I feel like this is something that I'm also going through right now, is that I need to work on the belief that I deserve all the success or all the things that is happening to me. And we tend to kind of say, oh, it's just luck, or it's just that this happened because of some random reason, when in reality you made it happen. You did this thing to actually make it come true. Whether you had help from other people or you had help from the universe, you still thought about it and you still made it happen. So I feel that you and we need to learn how to embrace the results that we have achieved in order to bring us to the next level, because I feel that there's always the next level, and if we discount that, we're going to try to bring ourselves back down. So this is a very general and quick video on how to build a life that you love. I hope that you got something out of it, and I really hope that you be kind to yourself and you take it one day at a time, and I'll see you in the next video.